Hello, good morning and welcome to Athavan newspaper highlights. Today is Saturday, 5th of November 2016. This is Edward with the highlights of today's English newspapers. As usual, we have three newspapers for the highlights: Daily Mirror, Daily News and Ceylon Today. Firstly, let's have a look on the Daily Mirror. The main headline says, New agency to streamline state procurement procedure. In the wake of various financial misappropriation and mismanagement at state institutions, President Maithripala Sirisena is expected to set up a 5-member independent centralized procurement agency with the objective of streamlining the state procurement procedure. Condolence message on demise of Pandit Amaradeva. His voice will continue to echo in our hearts, says President. President Maithripala Sirisena issuing a condolence message over the demise of veteran artist Pandit W.D. Amaradeva said that the nation is grief-stricken by the demise of the great maestro who belonged to our generation of pioneers. Suspect dies after falling off 4th floor of hospital. A 35-year-old suspect who had been remanded till November 16 died early yesterday after he slipped and fell off the 4th floor to the 1st floor of the Gambaha General Hospital where he was receiving medical treatment, Gambaha Police said. Northern politicians unconcerned about people's problems, says Northern Provincial Governor. He says they survive on misinformation and lies. Northern Province Governor Reginald Kure yesterday charged that certain politicians in the north were not concerned about the real problems faced by the people in the province but survive on misinformation and lies which fuel unrest in the north and the south. Secondly, let's move to Daily News. Tissa refused bail, allegedly displaying fraudulent document to the media. No exceptional circumstances to release accused. Delivering her order on the bail application filed on behalf of former UNB General Secretary Tissa Athanayaka, High Court Judge Sarojini Kusala Veerawardena yesterday refused to grant bail to the accused, citing that there are no exceptional circumstances before court to release the accused on bail at this juncture. Accordingly, Athanayaka will have to remain in the remand custody until December 5. Athanayaka was ordered to be remanded on October 19 for allegedly displaying a fraudulent document to the media during the last presidential election by citing racial or religious hatred among ethnic communities. Nation bids farewell to music legend Pandit Amaradeva today. The casket carrying the remains of legendary musician Pandit W.D. Amaradeva reached Independence Square yesterday. President Maithripala Sirisena and artists are seen carrying the casket to be placed on a special days for the people to pay their respects. Army does not run any school, Reginald Kure says. The army does not run any schools in the Northern Province, Northern Province Governor Reginald Kure said, responding to a question by a journalist at a press conference at his office in Bataramula yesterday. The governor refuted the complaint by Northern Province Chief Minister C.V. Vigneswaran to the European Union that there are army-run schools in the north. He said the army, with its own labour and money, rebuilt some of the ruined schools in the area, but those schools had been handed back to the provincial administration. No school is run by the army, he stressed. Indo-Lanka talks on fishermen issues today. Foreign Minister Mangala Samaraweera, Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Development Minister Mahinda Amaraweera and delegation will meet their Indian counterparts in New Delhi today to discuss disputes between Indian and Sri Lankan fishermen, including the use of Lankan waters by Indian trawlers. These meetings come after members of fishermen associations from both countries failed to reach a compromise regarding Tamil Nadu fishermen plying their trade in Sri Lankan waters. The 15-member delegation from the Jaffna, Mana, Mullaitivu and Kilinochchi districts rejected the proposal that Indian fishermen be allowed to fish in Sri Lankan waters for between 83 and 85 days a year for the next 3 years. Finally, let's move to Ceylon Today. The main headline says, President PM to combat drug menace. President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe have decided to join forces to combat the drug menace as it has become a massive threat to Sri Lanka. The two leaders have agreed that the drug menace is posing a worse danger to the country than the 3-decade-long terrorism that saw the destruction of thousands of people, strict rules and regulations imposed by countries such as Singapore and Malaysia to wrest control of the drug menace will be taken as guidelines when deciding policies and programs to combat drug here. The Prime Minister has already taken steps to request assistance from these countries for this operation. Meanwhile, the US government has also expressed willingness to lend their support in this regard. A head of state rarely plays the part of a pallbearer, yet when the coffin contains the remains of a legend whose death has left a void that cannot be filled, even President Maithripala Sirisena would have decided that the best way of paying his respects to the late iconic singer Pandit W.D. Amaradeva would be to help carry his coffin. Vimal goes wild at press effect, dashes copies of depositions, laughs and ignores commission. Parliamentarian Vimal Veeravansa laughed out loud when he was handed the written copies of depositions, including the charges against him. Then he dashed the documents on the floor in the presence of prefect officials. Selection died of gunshot injuries. Magistrate. 5 police suspects further remanded. The Jaffna magistrate yesterday ordered further remanding of the 5 police officers suspected of involvement in the 21st October shooting of 2 university students in Kokkuville, Jaffna. 2 lawyers, Kesavan Sayandan and Ganeshalingam, who appeared on behalf of the students, told the media that the magistrate delivered the judgment on the inquest into the deaths, saying that Vijayakandan Selection died of gunshot injuries and the pillion rider Nadaraja Gajan died of injuries from the collision due to the gunshot injuries to the rider. The lawyers said the CID provided productions to the court and those were accepted. The lawyers informed the magistrate that they have important evidence, including the CCTV camera footage and statements from the persons who were there when the incident took place. Court directed the lawyers to provide all necessary information to the CID in order for them to continue with a proper investigation. With that, let's come to an end of today's paper highlights. We will come with more news tomorrow morning. Thanks for listening to other newspaper highlights.